And welcome back, everybody, to another exciting episode of the TV show. I'm Jay Black, broadcasting from the great state of Maine, joined as always by the lovely Rhea Hughes from Philadelphia and the not so lovely Angelo Cataldi from parts unknown. We're not exactly sure where he's from. And
Parts unknown. I'm in the exact same place every day, every week. I am the most predictable human being.
100%.
you're a fan of wrestling, and that was always what they would say in wrestling. They would go parts unknown. All right,
Great.
let's start with a topic that Rhea gave me, which I thought was very interesting, about Nick Sirianni this week. Got into it with the fans, and I was thinking about, and Rhea, you brought this up. There's been a lot of great sports moments that have been on TV that have not been on the field. So, Rhea,
Yes.
can you walk me through what happened with Nick Sirianni, and maybe let's talk about some other moments that we can remember like this.
So, as the Eagles were in victory formation for this massive win over the now 1-5 Browns, who stink, okay, he decided to turn around without his babysitter, Big Don, and go towards the fans behind the bench and start doing the thing to the ear. Oh, I can't hear you now. I can't hear you now. Then he threw his hands up, and then he brought his children into the post-game news conference, as we all thought, shield, so no one would ask him a tough question. Because frankly, what people don't know about reporters, they are human beings, and no one's going to ask Nick Sirianni about his job security when his 9-year-old's sitting next to him. So I mean, it was a whole utter train wreck, and it got me to thinking about, there's a lot of stuff. The reason why sports is such big business, it's not just the drama on the field, it's the drama that surrounds it. And so I just said, let's talk about some moments that have happened with sports, but don't involve, a Hail Mary.
Right. And Angelo, can you think of some?
I don't have a radio show I would be going berserk all week about Sirianni and how
Angelo, you will be proud. He's been just killed.
It's a bottom line. All right, bottom line. I did that gig for 33 years. Rhea was there for most of it. Yeah. At no point ever has a sports figure challenged the fans of his own city to his own game. It doesn't happen. The only people that try it are people who have lost their minds. You understand? And the idea that Sirianni would explain his out-of-control behavior on Sunday in a pitiful performance by both teams was that his players asked him to bring the passion back. Let me tell you something, right? If Jalen Hurts told his boss, Nick Sirianni, to start acting stupid on the sideline again, it was just to make it easier for the Eagles to fire Sirianni, because I can tell you right now, Jalen Hurts does not like the guy. He has figured out by now the guy is clueless. Yeah. But what he did, I mean, my God, make it faster. Just douse yourself in gasoline and light a match. That would have been easy. It was unbelievable. Yeah. And you're right, Jay, that some of the best things that happen in sports are not things that happen in an actual game. Yeah. They're the periphery stuff. Yes. Rhea, we specialize in that the years we did the show.
We loved it.
That. Periphery. Rhea, Rhea, give us one that happened that wasn't in the field.
So one of my favorite moments, I have one that really impacted me because I was still in college, but one of my favorites was one of our all-time lightning rod of a coaches, Buddy Ryan. When he was the defense coordinator, I think it was for the Arizona Cardinals, and he punched the offensive coordinator, Kevin Gilbride, on the sidelines because I think he liked what he was calling. It was typical Buddy, completely insane, and it was one of the funniest moments ever.
This tells you a lot, Jay, about Rhea and I. Both of our examples require violence. Buddy swung at his offensive coordinator. Yeah. Mine is, I still think it's the craziest thing I've ever seen in the periphery of sports. Years ago, maybe 20 now, there is a goon in hockey named Ty Domi, right?
I
And
remember.
Ty Domi gets sent to the penalty box where an out of control Flyers fan who was also insanely drunk started screaming and yelling at Domi and ended up going over the barrier and into the penalty box where he began to fight and lose the fight to Ty Domi. You know, that may be the one thing I've seen dumber than Sirianni's behavior on Sunday. I mean, until a pacifist is in the penalty box.
Yeah, you don't go after
Domi.
You don't go after time. The biggest ones are the craziest ones. Malice in the Palace, the Detroit Pistons.
Oh wow!
And who was the other team? Was the Detroit? I know it was Ron Artest.
Right.
And now I'm blanking, but
right.
he got a hard foul by Rasheed Wallace, and then he went to sit on the scorer's table to kind of chill out. And a fan threw a drink at him, and it was an outright brawl. Fans, players, it was insane.
I just wanted to mention my favorite, which we talked about, Rhea, which was Joe Namath trying to kiss Susie Colbert. I mean, we've had a rash of unwanted stadium kissing on the podcast in recent weeks, but there's no greater example. Once you reach a certain age, you should be forced as a man to watch that video to get a good look at Susie Colbert's face. We go like, "Hey, Colbert, right?" Listen, you might have been Broadway Joe in your time, but your time was 40 years ago. Take the coat off. She doesn't want the kiss. Just be aware of that, fellas.
But Jay, here's the thing about that incident, and that's another great one. I've never seen Joe Namath the same way. No, like when I see him now, I have him puckering and trying to kiss Susie Colbert, and it's like, come on, guy. You're right. It's a law. You're way past the point where that's happening.
Yeah, it was a long time ago, Joe. All right. So another one suggested by a fan that Angelo sort of tagged off of. We got some fan mail about Bad Monkey. Now, we mentioned Bad Monkey when it premiered. We were all big fans of it.
Yeah.
And when I forwarded this along to you guys, Angelo came back about the ending of Bad Monkey. Big Monkey is a whole different show. Don't watch Big Monkey. You don't want to see that. But Angelo came back on Bad Monkey and said, it didn't end very well. And it got me, both of us talking about the idea of endings. And you would think TV shows being 10 episodes long and a single season in most cases would have an ending built in. Now, Bill Lawrence is the guy that did this. He also did Ted Lasso, which also flopped the ending. Maybe it's Bill Lawrence, but is it TV in general? Angela, tell me
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that he blew the ending for Ted Lasso, too.
Big time.
But this ending... first of all, Bad Monkey is a great watch. The first 9 episodes for sure. The 10th, no. You're about halfway through the final episode and you're trying to figure out what's left to resolve. Yeah. And it just kind of faded to nowhere at the end. And Vince Vaughn is great in it because he's Vince Vaughn. And the whole show, the narrator is hilarious. It's really intricate in the craziness, and it's good. It's a really good, but they didn't have an ending. And then you go, well, you know what? I'm seeing that more and more. One of my favorite things on Paramount Plus, The Offer, which is the behind-the-scenes story of The Godfather, the way they put the first one together, Godfather 1. They were done in 9 episodes. Watch the 10th episode, you're going, what am I watching? Everything's done here. Why did they tack this on? You don't need to. You just said it, Jay. If you're going to do long form storytelling, you can't start until you know where it ends. And it's got to end some way that is satisfying to the people that invested all those hours. And Bad Monkey failed at it. The Offer failed at it. Dexter, the original Dexter, that was the ultimate fail. They didn't even know what to do at the end. They had to bring it back and redo the ending.
Yeah. Rhea, you watch British shows where they usually are only like 5-6 episodes. I feel like that they end better than American shows. Do you agree or no?
No, they usually do. And for me, with the example of Bad Monkey, there is no excuse for a show in its debut season to have a bad ending.
Right.
I get it in season 4, 5, 6. You're running out of ways to make your characters, still interesting. But Angelo, as you mentioned, Vince Vaughn is fantastic in this.
Fantastic.
I absolutely love him. All the side characters great. I think what happens is, it's like, what, did you run out of ideas? Did you run out of money? I'm always amazed that the viewers have a better idea of how shows should end, because we are watching the finished product. So we're seeing how the show's progressing, and we know what the natural conclusion is. And I think writers, what happens to them is they try to overthink it. I got to do this. I got to do it. Stay true to what they should do. Writers should do before that. This is just my belief. I've never written a show. You have, Jay. Before you write the final ending, go back and watch the pilot and see why people loved it. And that's how you should end it. That's just a thought.
I have a quick theory on this. I believe it's because when we were growing up in the 80s and 70s, the TV shows and movies would end when it was over. And we'd all go, what's next? I wonder what's next. And we all wanted to see the next day. But it was much better to imagine the next day. No one wanted to see Maverick and Iceman in the debrief after the mission that they flew. They hug, it's over, we're done. Get out when it's done. Everyone, they might want more, but it's better to want more than to get less get more that's slop.
Jay, I don't want to do this because it's going to alienate a lot of podcast viewers and listeners, but I have to.
Yeah.
Show that did the best job of ending all 8 seasons. They never knew if they were coming back, so they had a spectacular ending every season.
Can I guess?
Go ahead, Rhea.
Wentworth.
8 amazing finishes. In one of them, they just burned the whole prison down.
Never let it be said that Angelo Cataldi is not consistent.
I just want to do that because in 10 days, on October 26th, Wentworth leaves Netflix. You jackasses still never checked it out, did you?
No.
You know how insulted I am.
And I've told you, I can't watch prison shows because I don't ever want to go in one.
Rhea, they have accents. You love shows with accents.
I do.
All right, let's switch over to just a couple of quick hits here that are obsessions of mine. One involves the TV business. Rhea, you cut cords recently, right?
I did. Yeah, I'm all streaming. I'm all streaming.
And that's affecting the cable business hard, but not nearly as much as it's affecting the satellite business, which in the early 2000s was huge. If you couldn't get cable to your house, it got more channels to you. And the one thing that they had that you couldn't get anywhere else was the Sunday ticket for the NFL. Yeah. And that thing kept satellite TV afloat for years. Now Google has it. Anyway, I read this article, I couldn't believe it, which was that DirecTV bought the Dish Network for, are you ready, everybody? $1. They spent.
You mean I could have owned it?
You could have owned it and had Hershey bar for your $5 bill left over. That's how little it went. I just got to ask, Rhea, you work in radio, which has reinvented itself.
Sure.
Sort of an immediate reaction to things. You can't get that anymore.
No.
Does satellite TV have a reinvention in them, or is it done? Is this going to be done in 5 years kind of business?
As Angelo knows, they've been saying for 25 years that terrestrial radio is dead. And when you do what we do with sports, local is king. We know our teams better. And that's what really has kept us, as the force that we are. I had satellite down at my shore house for only like 1 year, because if there was if a raindrop hit my satellite, I couldn't watch anything.
Right.
So I was out on it. And so, I know satellite's good for people who are rural, but I looked at the numbers. They said in 2015, 87% of Americans' homes had either cable or satellite. And 2023, only 47. So they've dropped 40%. I don't know how satellite. Angelo, I know you had satellite for forever. I had it for 1 year and didn't like it.
Well, you're right, forever, Rhea. This is a true story. This is my first marriage many, many years ago. I'm in Medford, New Jersey, and we go to look at a house. We're going to move to Medford, and it had a 10-foot satellite dish in the backyard, right? And I never went in the house. I said, yes, we're purchasing this home. I want that dish.
Angelo, most people see a pool in the backyard and they go,
Yeah.
I am in.
Yeah. The dish did it for me because I've always loved TV. It was an incredible experience. I was watching Seinfeld. This is the 90s, I guess, before it actually appeared, because they were downloading it from the West Coast to the East Coast, and you could pick it up on a wild feed, they called it, up on the satellite. I got so obsessed with it that I hired a guy named Larry Hess. And I said, Larry, I can't get the lowest 2 satellites. What can I do? And Larry was like me, just obsessed with satellite. He came and he went, well, you're going to have to lose like a dozen of these trees, the ones right around the house. I said, get them out of here. Right? Unfortunately, I did not inform my first wife of this. And she drove up the driveway, and there was a crew getting rid of all these trees. And it was not a good, it sent the marriage in a poor direction.
I would imagine.
Beginning of the end.
Yeah.
But I loved satellite TV when I could control it myself with my own dish. I got DirecTV for 10 years because of the NFL. Look, I'm ready to tell you it's over because it makes sense it's over. But vinyl records still exist. They're having a rebound. Right. Sometimes the best technology doesn't win. There may be somebody out there that will figure out something to do with the satellites. But it seems to me it's over. But it was fun while it lasted, man.
I think about this stuff all the time to the detriment of my own life, Angelo, and I can't think anything. If you are listening right now and can think of a way for satellite TV to save itself, I would be very interested. Hit that fan mail button, send it to us, because I want to know. And Angelo, real fast, one thing I loved about satellite TV, I had an uncle who also divorced my aunt because of his obsession with satellite TV. Who had a big one that you could watch the news feeds before they came in, and you would see the reporter, scratching, picking his nose, waiting.
All of it. It was so great. I spent as much time watching stuff that wasn't even I was supposed to watch as I watch now the real stuff. It was so fun. It was like looking inside somebody's window without them knowing it. Yeah. You were like a voyeur, but it's that is long gone.
DirecTV, bring back the nose picking reporters, and we're in. We're in. All right, and Rhea, I know that you're not into this. This might be just an Angelo and me quick conversation about our mutual dislike of David Zaslav, the man who has decided to put a stake in the heart of the 100-year-old movie company Warner Brothers. Just a couple of quick hits about this. Number one, Joker is now one of the biggest bombs in history. Had an 81% drop in its second week. Crazy bomb. I saw news that he's dumping Warner Brothers stalwart Clint Eastwood's new movie into theaters, less than 50, which is just an FU to a legend. And the last one that I heard was that Christopher Nolan hates David Zaslav so much that he wouldn't even let Warner Brothers bid on his new movie, let alone like he wouldn't let him even get into the conversation.
Wow.
David Zaslav, does he have a vendetta, Angelo, against Warner Brothers, or is this just bean counting crazy?
He's just really incompetent, horribly incompetent. To do that to Clint Eastwood.
It's unbelievable.
Like 93 or 94 now. He's still working. He's still doing movies. And a lot of them have been good.
Yeah.
Through his 80s, he made good films. And you treat an icon like that, it just exposes you as being inept, not knowing what you're doing. By the way, the Joker Folie à Deux, that lost 150 million. Can you explain to me how he keeps his job when he has a project that loses 150 million?
I cannot explain it. That was an out of control program. Todd Phillips would not let David Zaslav screen the movie. How does Todd Phillips tell David Zaslav that you don't screen the movie? Are you the boss of the company? You're not the boss of this company. Are you a good person with talent or are you not? it drives me nuts because it's weird to say I love Warner Brothers, but that was the home of Stanley Kubrick for many years. It was the home of Clint Eastwood. It was the studio that was known as the artist studio. That if we liked you, we would stand by you and make your movies. And greatness came out of that. And it kind of breaks my heart that it's going away under this idiot. So
I'm with you. I am boycotting Deadliest Catch now because it's what really got David Zaslav famous. And I used to like the show, but now that I know it created this monster, I won't even watch Deadliest Catch anymore.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that is not a monster, ladies and gentlemen. That is a sponsor, Steven Singer Jewelers. And Angelo, you've known this guy. How many years have you known Steven Singer, Angelo?
I've known Steven for 30 years. He saved my career once years ago. It's in my book, Loud. Check it out. Here's what I want to say about it, all right? We got a theme, underlying theme in today's show. It's Nick Sirianni, David Zaslav, people that are inept, people that don't know how to do their jobs. And Steven has always felt in the realm of jewelry, he can't believe how people in his field don't understand what's important. They want to hold big sales. They want you to get, they don't understand that what you want, if you're out there buying a ring or something nice, a nice piece of jewelry, you want them to tell you what is the honest value of the piece and to give you a fair price and to not do all the other mumbo jumbo, these bargaining games that they want you to play. And Steven is known from day one that if you're just honest and straightforward with your customers, you will build a great business. And that's what he did. I have learned more in retirement about people who are inept at their jobs than I ever realized when I did my own job, because I can watch it now and be puzzled by how stupid they are and how they're allowed to get away with it. That's it. Go to the guy that knows what he's doing, Steven Singer.
And where do you find?
It was funny, Angie. I walked out of my studio this morning at WIP, and Steven was on a commercial. Stop for commercials. I have like 3 minutes to go to the bathroom. You know me. I got to run to the bathroom. And I was like, oh, there's Steven. And he's just so genuine. And when you go in there, they'll just take good care of you, because customers, which these other people don't get, customers are king. And that's what Steven has always got.
It's amazing. He's a jeweler who actually knows what he's doing. The other corner of the walnut, I hate stevensinger.com.
If you're a person that has recently chopped down maybe 12 or 15 trees at your house so you could see Seinfeld 20 minutes early, maybe it's time to go to Steven Singer Jewelers and get right with the wife. All right.
Very true.
Rhea, you are our British correspondent and also our teen correspondent. What do you got for us this week?
So I have The Inheritance on BritBox. And it's exactly what you think of it. It's a movie about an inheritance. So there's these 3 siblings, and it's only 4 episodes, 43 minutes each. So it doesn't involve a lot of time. It starts off with a bang. I'll say it starts off pretty well. These 3 siblings, I'll say they're between 35 and 45, 2 sisters, a brother. Their father dies unexpectedly. They go to the lawyer, after a little bit, for the reading of the will, only to find out that he's changed the will and has left everything to his wife, which is puzzling to the siblings because their mother predeceased him. At which point the lawyer goes, no, he's remarried. They're stunned by it, left everything to the new wife. So you immediately think, well, the new wife must have had something to do with it. The new wife, her name's Susan, shows up and informs them that they had so she was the wife of the father's best friend. They had a 14-year affair. When the father's wife died, they married in secret, and he left everything to her. But it turns out he was probably murdered. They had to talk the coroner into doing actually a real investigation of his death, which they did in a crazy TV moment. I will say this probably has never happened in real life. I don't want to give it away because it's pretty wild. Here's the thing is, I think, again, we talked about it earlier. People run out of ideas. It should have just stuck with the 3 kids, the new wife, what happened, how the father died. They add all these other little tag storylines that I was like, when you're watching a show, you're going, could you please move on with this and get back to the main story?
Yep,
so yep. I will recommend it because it is interesting, but I will tell you, I kind of zoned out when they went to the other storylines, but it is interesting because it happens, unfortunately. You've got grown children, a parent remarries, and I think a lot of people, that's the comments I read, a lot of people in this world are dealing with that situation where once house.
Sounds like British version a
That,
little.
you know what, Angelo? That's what a lot of people said. It's
Yeah.
it's obviously not as good as Succession. A lot of people compared it to that.
Very nice. And Rhea,
Like you, I might check it out. I know you won't check out Wentworth. I might try that one get that.
Rhea, I know that your teen selection is very
Yes.
close to my heart, and we've already
Yes.
kind of gone over it, but let's just talk. Maybe we can talk Angelo into seeing one of the best movies that has come out this year, which is The Wild Robot.
Took Clark and his buddy Valentino. They're both 15. Took them to the movies. Took them to the AMC Fashion District. I just want to let people know.
Great.
Go to the AMC Fashion District. If you want to see a movie, they deliver food to your seat, which is a individual recliner. And when you're done, you get to go across the street to Reading Terminal and get amazing food. So first of all, that's just a recommendation by me. The Wild Robot, stunning. Like it's a stunning visual. It's an amazing story. Jay, you were right. As being a mother, my favorite line in it, because it's essentially a robot is raising a little gosling.
Yeah.
I won't give anything else away, but she at one point says to, I forget which animal she talks to a lot, the one who has all the kids.
It's like a possum. It's a possum with all
Possum.
possums on her.
And
Yeah.
the robot goes, I do not have the programming to be a mother. And the possum looks at her and goes, none of us do. We just make it up all along the way. So it was, and so we got done. Like, I felt like it spoke to me a lot as a mom, because obviously no one gives you a manual. But when I got done, I asked the kids, and they were like, I think they were setting up for a sequel. And I go, would you guys? They're like, oh my God, Angelo, you're always talking about story. I want a story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what I loved about this, without giving anything away, when big ship comes in towards the end, I felt like, Jay, it was out of place,
Yeah.
because that ship didn't have any place in that beautiful home
No,
of the wild.
You just wanted it to
And
be the animals. You did not want people
yeah,
to intrude. It's a gorgeous little
yes,
story. It's sci-fi, it's cartoon, but if you
yes.
are listening to this and you have children or know people with children, go see it. Your time
see
is
it.
Listen, I am going to see it because I was told by my wife that I'm going to see it.
yes.
The only question I have, and I said I would ask right here on the podcast, I have grandkids, 6, 4, 2. Are they too young for the Wild Robot?
No. Here's
They're
what I'll
not.
tell you. They'll love the animals and the talking and the
Yeah.
that whole part of it. You as an adult will get the storytelling part.
It's in. I'm doing it. You'll be
It is-
hearing my review of The Wild Robot in theaters soon.
I can't wait because it is a gentle little gem. That's what they used to
You know
call
what,
me.
Jay? Gentle. That is, I like.
Gentle.
I felt really good when I felt so good. I bought the two boys 2 lobster mac and cheese and 2 salads for $78 at the Reading Terminal and didn't complain.
I think we should go to our next movie with Rhea, Angelo, because she's buying apparently. That's great. Well, I can't wait to hear your review, Angelo, next week. But what do you got for us this week?
All right, I'm not sure next week. I'm a very busy person. I don't know if you heard, I have a film premiere coming out.
You do, yes.
That's what's a week from Tuesday? Somebody figure out what date that is, because I think
I
it's
believe it's the 20. Wait, a week from next Tuesday?
no, next Tuesday is the actual date. It's in
October
6
22nd.
nights. It's
the 22nd.
What is it? October
22nd.
22nd at 1412 Chestnut Street, ladies and gentlemen. Check out No One Died, the Wing Bowl story. It is having its premiere there. It is an homage to one of our favorite promotions ever. You can buy tickets at filmadelphia.org. That's org, not com. All right. I got one big recommendation and then something spectacular that I also saw. Disclaimer. is now out. It is on Apple Plus. They have released the first 2 episodes. It stars Cate Blanchett, Kevin Kline, and a Sacha Baron Cohen like you have never seen. He is as far from what's his name, the crazy guy, Borat, as you would ever imagine. It is really, really good. And what amazed me is that it is directed and written by Alfonso Cuarón. Alfonso Cuarón, his last big movie hit was Roma, which I thought sucked.
Oh, I liked it. I liked it. It's a good movie.
And the last project of Cate Blanchett was Tar, which was a heaping pile of garbage.
The only garbage was she didn't win the Oscar. That was the only garbage.
What is the possibility that I would love this show? I love it. It's brilliant. It's about this woman who has got all these secrets, and then somebody writes a book that's supposed to be fiction, but it's her whole story, and they're outing her. And her husband, Sacha Baron Cohen, finds pictures of her with a guy she slept with when she was on vacation with their 6-year-old son. It unravels. Cate is insanely great in it. It's all fantastic. It unfolds in a really unique way. There's only 4 episodes because Kate's busy. She can't do a whole 10. And I've seen the first 2, and I recommend it very highly.
And just real quick, Kevin Kline hasn't been anything in a long time, like something good. It's just when you said that name, I went, wow.
He plays an old man, which is not at all a reach for him now, but he's great in it. They're all great in it. And the other thing that I saw that I got to mention, because I recommended a few weeks ago, Fight Night on Peacock. Yeah. The final episode dropped. I watched it a couple of days ago. And there is a scene in it that is the best TV scene of this year. It is a Samuel L. Jackson playing Samuel L. Jackson, a cool mobster gangster type, and Kevin Hart playing a guy that Samuel L. Jackson is about to kill. And Kevin Hart is pleading for his life with Samuel L. Jackson. And what you're going to see there is brilliance by Samuel L. He plays that part better than everyone. It's like Vince Vaughn. When you play a part great, play it. It's great. Yeah. But Kevin Hart is a great dramatic actor. Great. Wow. Wait till you see how great he is in it. And the whole, I can't recommend highly enough Fight Night. It's a tremendous TV series. 8 episodes, I think it is. And it's on Peacock. And that scene near the end of the final episode, by the way, they landed the ending, Jay. They knew how to end Fight Night. It's great right to the end. You will love it. It's Fight Night, and that scene is the best scene I've seen this year. Kevin Hart is an amazing dramatic actor.
Can I just say one thing? I actually met Samuel L. Jackson once.
Really?
No.
I did. Angelo, Sixers, when we had the All-Star game here in Philadelphia, I used to go to all the games. I knew the back elevator, and it was the All-Star game. Everybody was jammed into the main elevator. I said, let me sneak around. I'm standing by the freight elevator. Me, just by myself. Doors open. Samuel L. Jackson. I'm like, hey, Samuel. He goes, hey, how you doing? I go, great. Have a good night. That was it. That was my entire exchange with Samuel L. Jackson.
Hold on. You've met him and you've met me. Who's cooler?
Samuel L.
Oh, come on.
A hair.
I love him.
And real fast, I just want to say, Apple TV, you have the highest hit ratio of any streamer. Tell some people about your channel. Maybe just put the word out that you have some of the best stuff on TV. You're the new HBO. Just a thought. Right. Real fast, I want to do a review because I watched it. Lacey Peterson documentary on Netflix. It's a 3-parter. First off, I need someone to talk me out of watching these. I watch every single one that pops up. If I know it's a murder that I've heard of, I want to watch it, even though I know how it ends. I want all the gross details. There's a problem. It needs to be stopped. It was engrossing, but it might be engrossing because I am a sociopath that enjoys these things. Either way, If you think you know the story, it might be a while. It happened 20 years ago. This crazy person, Scott Peterson, who still 20 years later claims to be innocent, which there's not a speck of evidence that seems to point in the other direction, killed his pregnant wife so he could be with his mistress, who winds up being the hero of this story. She did not know she was a mistress. She was hoodwinked by Scott Peterson and comes off very likable in this, as likable as anybody can be in a gross TV show. But I couldn't stop watching. I don't think you'll be able to stop watching. I don't know if that's a recommend, but it was engrossing.
No, listen, I do the same thing, and I love them all.
Yeah.
I love them all. I
I'm
love
glad
those
you
kind
make
of
me feel
stories.
better. Yeah.
It's a great storytelling, and I'm going to have one next week on one that just dropped last night on Peacock about a psycho writer for Grey's Anatomy
Oh,
who,
wow.
oh no, this story is insane. What happened with this woman? And it's 3 parts. I watched the first 2. You're going to love it. But Jay, the TV does that kind of stuff now better than it ever did before.
Yep.
And I say watch them all. If you don't have enough time, quit your job so you'll have more time to watch it. That's what I did.
All right, Angelo, what did we talk about this week?
If you would like to watch Nick Sirianni act the fool this Sunday, the Eagles will be playing the Giants on Fox. Check it out at 1 o'clock on Sunday. Bad Monkey, the whole thing is for you there now at Apple Plus. The last episode, not so great. Wentworth is on Netflix for another 10 days. Plan accordingly. Clearly, my co-hosts don't. They don't care. The Joker, Folie à Deux, is in theaters probably for the next 20 minutes or so.
Probably.
Because it's a bomb. We got The Inheritance is on BritBox.
Yes.
The Wild Robot, highly recommended, is in theaters now. What else do we have here? Oh, yeah. If you want to see the premiere of No One Died, the Wingbowl story, that's at Philadelphia.org. Disclaimers at Apple Plus. Fight Night is at Peacock. And the Lacey Peterson story is on Netflix. Lots of good stuff to check out this week.
Absolutely. If you enjoyed what you heard or you have some insight for us, please hit the fan mail button. We read every single one of them. Also, don't forget to visit our sponsor, I Hate Steven Singer. If you messed up, now's a good time to get your wife or your husband something nice. Also, don't forget to check out Loud, the book that Angelo Cataldi wrote about his 33 years at the top of Philadelphia radio. You can go to angelocatali.com or amazon.com or audible.com if you want to hear him read it to you. And don't forget to check out my movie, currently streaming anywhere that you can buy a movie, Tenants, which I produced. Please buy it. It's easier to produce than it is to write. I'd like to produce more of these things and not have to actually think of this story. We really appreciate you joining us, and we will be back next week with more great TV talk.